But you mentioned to me beforehand the fallacy of the perfect life,
Right.
and I actually didn't know what you were talking about at first. And
Right.
I've been like thinking about it. I think I might have a theory, but like what is that fallacy?
Yeah.
And can you flesh that out a little bit?
Yes. So I think that what I mean by that is this is um, we are at a cultural point, not for the first time in the history of the world, but I think more accentuated now, where we believe that we can control everything in our lives. Not only that we believe that we can control everything in our lives, but that we have a right to do that.
Hmm.
That if something happens that is undesirable to me, I'm a victim, either of someone else's perpetrating or just a victim of circumstances or victims of a God that I don't know,
Hmm.
but somehow has chosen me as a target
Hmm.
for victimizing. Um, the perfect life is comfortable, is successful, however I define that. And then if I have a perfect life, I should have a perfect day, I should have a perfect everything,
Hmm.
right? And truth be told is that we do control a lot of aspects of our lives. Right? I mean, we have a lot of tools, we have financial means, we have things available to us that we
Hmm.
can set up our lives in a fairly comfortable way. Um, so much so that we begin to believe that this is the way it ought to be and the way that it should be just by nature, by who
Hmm.
I am. The problem with that is twofold. One is that simply, obviously, leads to disappointment. Okay,
Hmm.
that's easy enough, right? But more importantly, even if it doesn't lead to disappointment, it leads to selfishness because I'm making every decision according to what I think my perfect life ought to be,
Right.
right? And if my perfect life is my own comfort or sense of success,
Right.
as opposed to that life plan that we talked about at the beginning, then I may be making small decisions during the day every day based on my unspoken, unacknowledged operative plan, which
Hmm.
is protect my perfect life.
So
Right?
how do you balance the intentionality of designing your life with not veering into the fallacy of the
Great.
perfect life?
So the point of life then, I mean, it could be anything, right? Because at the beginning we didn't say that it had to be a particular plan of life,
Hmm.
Christian plan of life, or anything like that. But the plan of life that I believe is going to be most rewarding,
Hmm.
that we know is most rewarding, is one that is other oriented,
Hmm.
right? You know, Aristotle told us that we're social animals, and that is true. What Christianity improves upon that is that sociable doesn't mean that we need others to survive. It's that we need to give ourselves to others to thrive.
Hmm.
Right? That's what being social really means,
Right.
right? That the greatest blessing we have is not that people love us, is that there are people in our lives that we can love.
Hmm.
That's the greatest blessing. That's what brings us out of us, right? Out of
Right.
ourselves. So with that plan of life, then my decisions are, okay, yeah, I have to be in great health. Not because I want to look at myself in the mirror and be admired, but because I need to serve others.
Yeah.
I need
Right.
to look good for my family. I need to be healthy to do a lot of things for a lot of people.
Hmm.
That's why I have to take care of myself, right?
Right.
I have to be successful professionally, not because I want to pat myself on the back, but because this is my way to give to society,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? I want to contribute.
Right.
I want to do as much as possible. So I think the balance there is having the plan of life, which is very intentional,
Hmm.
but at the same time, the reason for which I do things is other centered.
Right. There's a I don't I'm sure you've probably heard this. Have you heard of the fourth grade find the balloon experiment? Have you heard about this?
Yes, I
Okay, so
have.
they get this teacher gets her whole fourth grade class into the hallway and asks each of them to write their name on a balloon. And so I think it's probably like 100 of these kids. They sign their name on this balloon. She takes the balloons and mixes them up, and then she says, "Go find your balloon." And so you can just imagine there's 100 kids going out there and they're trying to find their balloon, and no one's finding them. There's a scuffle. People are bumping into each other. It's not
Right.
working. And then she just reframes it and says, when you find a balloon, just shout the name of the person
Right.
whose balloon you found and go bring it to them.
Right.
So essentially, instead of going and looking for your balloon, just whatever balloon that you see that someone else's, go give it to them.
Right.
And within like 2 minutes, everyone has their balloon because it's their search.
Right.
Sally, I got yours over here. Run over. And it's
Right.
like, John. And kind of the point of the experiment is like when you are looking for your own happiness, it doesn't work. When you're trying to serve others, that's actually how you find your happiness. So similar to
Right.
what you were saying of
Yeah.
like,
No, exactly. And that's even, because I think that experiment talks more of, society works better when people look out for other people.
right,
Like it just works better.
right.
I mean, society in general, families for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we have siblings looking out for each other, it works better than if everyone is about her own business. Um, and I think even beyond that, you just are going to be more fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Like feel much better about who you are. I don't know if you ever saw there's a movie called Marvin's Room.
I'm missing all of your
It's
pop references
okay.
today.
So I have to say it's not a great movie.
Right.
It's a fairly silly movie in many ways. Diane Keaton and Meryl Streep and DiCaprio as
Okay.
DiCaprio as a spoiled kid.
Mm-hmm.
But the basic story is that two sisters, Keaton and Streep, are Meryl goes to somewhere to become a hairdresser, has these two kids, divorce, I think. Diane Keaton stays with a dad who is bedridden and sort of non-responsive for years.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Keaton has cancer and is a bone marrow transplant, so the other sister comes in with the family. At the end of the movie, kind of a tearjerker for some. They they don't find the right match. So Diane Keaton knows that she's going to die and breaks down, and her sister says, "Well, but listen, it's okay." And Diane Keaton says, "I know I've had so much love in my life." The sister says, "That's right, I love you. Dad loves you." Like, no, you don't get it. I've been able to love people in my life.
Mm.
And that is the basic message, right? That's the
Right.
fulfillment. So I think that the perfect life, the search for the perfect life is how can I do things to take care of myself?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fallacy because I think the actual perfect life happens when you say, what do I need to do to take care of those in my life?
Mm-hmm. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. And if there's a friend of yours who you think would benefit from watching this video, make sure you send it to them.